Now.
Sit wherever you like.
There you go.
Just one quick thing. This is going to be recorded, so
Yes.
just keep your cell phones on silent.
Try not to curse.
And when we say live studio audience, yay! That's all I ask.
You never know. So morphine, you know. I've never had an audience member curse, but like, maybe this is the day where.
Don't forget to turn this on.
Oh my God. Oh
It's
my
always-
God.
It's going to happen one day. One day it's going to happen, but not today.
yet?
Not today.
All right. Not
So,
today.
Mario,
Not today.
all you have to do is when you talk, speak this way, because the microphone is here. It's a good mic.
I'm recording that.
It can pick it up, and then we're going to be on, this will be on the
Right.
YouTube page, the behind the scenes recording. All right, so
Great.
here we go.
Sorry we had such a small audience today. Sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes it's.
Yeah, I'm glad I came because
Yeah, I'm glad you came.
I
too.
just-
brought to you in
This
part.
is gonna be
I
a
haven't
personal show
been
for you guys.
here
The
in
views of
a
the
couple
show's
years.
host and guests
really?
do
Yeah.
not
Hopefully you
necessarily
like
reflect
Brazilian comics.
those of the management.
Yeah, no, I do. I go to
Who's
Comic
gonna
or
Con.
find
staff
out?
I go
of
to
this
Comic
radio
Con and
station. And now,
stuff. I
it
was just
came
telling
from the
them.
radio.
Good.
Yabatoi, and welcome once again to It Came From The Radio, the official show of the Big Apple Con. This is your host, Mark Torres speaking. I am here in front of a live studio audience
Overwhelmed.
at the East Meadow Public Library for our 81st live show. And I am here with my co-host, Man Jenny Feldy.
Hey, how you doing?
And we're going to be talking to, with, and about our special guest, who's awesome, because he's right here. That makes our life so much easier. It's a Brazilian comic artist. Should I just call you comic artist or Brazilian comic artist?
Right. Like
Well,
female comedian.
I'm both. I don't know.
So you just be a
Yeah.
comic artist.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome comic artist, Mario Cau.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, we're going to talk to Mario in just a few minutes, but before we do any of that, we have to take it away with the news. The news is brought to you in part by the fine folks of the Big Apple Con, which we are the official radio show of, celebrating over 26 years of complex and pop culture stuff. For more information, go to www.bigapplecc.com. Their next convention is scheduled for November the 23rd, and tickets are on sale now. So you can go buy tickets right now, and then you got to wait like 5 months to go to the convention. Also, the show is brought to you in part by the fine folks of sci-fi.radio. That's sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. And I want to give a shout out for our Patreons, of which there are Danny Grillo, award-winning director Jared Burrell, Kyle Horn, Millie Cortez, Newsday famous Drizza Media, Unchi Khan, Shadra Vidar, Yasmin Ray, Rosa, and the Huracan. I want to have your own little shout out. Go to our website, www.itcamefromradio.com. The little button on there takes you right to our Patreon page. Also on the It Came From Radio website is my comic book, Designated, book that took 30 years to make, recently performed at a radio play at New York Comic Con. It tells a tale about two warring alien races fighting over a new discovered power source. The war finds its way to planet Earth, and as a result, some humans gain abilities. As normally we start with the sad news, but we don't have any sad news for this week. So
You guys are lucky.
so we'll just go to the regular news.
Thank God.
From the Smurfs A Lot Department. None other than IMPS, IMPS, which stands for the International Merchandising Promotions and Services, has announced that they are renewing and unifying all the characters of the Smurf brand under the renamed Peyo Company, which was named after the creator of the characters, starting with new shows of Johanna Pee-wee and Benny Breakeron, while continuing the Smurf series on Nickelodeon with season 4 in production as of right now, and a new Smurf movie which is coming out in 2025. Peyo's daughter, who is the CEO, says, "It has been an honor to be able to build such success out of the blue characters my father created, and now I hope we will do the same for some of his other creations, Johanna Pee-wee and Benny Breakerton. Peyo Company is currently looking for talents to make these exciting projects happen." Of note, Johan and Pee-wee first came out first, and then the Smurfs were introduced in a story called Smurfs and a Magic Flute in 1958, which was turned into a movie of the same name in 1976. Now, I was a fan of the Smurfs, those little blue guys that took 3 apples tall. They had a hugely popular Hanna-Barbera cartoon in the 80s, and I guess it led all the way to the 90s, one of the biggest cartoons of the time. And I remember watching the Johann and Pee Wee were characters in the Smurfs cartoon, and I remember seeing Smurfs and the Magic Flute. But the Smurfs and the Magic Flute, they had different voices, and they didn't have all their personality. So in the cartoon, the Smurfs, sometimes their hats represented their personalities, like the chef had a chef hat, and the lazy had a little hat that went down, and then they went on and on, they added new characters every year. And I tapped out, which is funny, because there was a rule that Smurfs were only guys. They were only guys, and they had 100 Smurfs, and then they had one female Smurf, which was the evil...
The breeder? The breeder Smurf?
No, not the breeder Smurf.
Well, how are they going to get more Smurfs? They need a lady!
The stork used to bring the Smurfs.
Sure.
And there was a stork in the
Sure.
cartoon.
Yeah, okay.
They had a baby Smurf, that's how they came, and baby Smurf had magical powers.
Uh-huh.
But the evil wizard who was trying to get them to either eat them or turn them into gold, depending on which version of the story you want, he created a female Smurf, like an evil temptress Smurf, and then the power of love turned into the good Smurf, which is Smurfette. And then later on, they added a second female, which was Sassette, and then after that, they decided to add Nanny Smurf, and that was when I stopped, because that just ruined the whole... Because it ruined the whole story of Smurfs. They're like, there's no women, and now all of a sudden there was a Nanny Smurf who was long lost. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense, so I tapped out.
Really? That's what did it for you?
That's what did it for me. That's why I stopped.
And
That
I was
is so
35
interesting.
years old.
Oh my god.
You're a fan of the Smurfs, though?
Yeah, I watched the cartoon when I was a kid. It was really big in Brazil, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So who's your favorite Smurf?
I don't remember the names, but there was this guy who always made inventions.
Oh, that was Handy Smurf.
Yeah, he created stuff and they
Yeah.
never worked, right?
Oh, wait.
Or
so,
did they work? I don't know.
There was Handy Smurf who used to make stuff. The guy with the box that used to pull stuff out.
box.
Jokey,
Yeah,
the
the
Joker
question.
Smurf.
Joker
Explode.
Smurf.
We have a question from the audience. Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering, was it in English in Brazil?
No,
or-
in Portuguese.
Oh,
It's in
that they
Portuguese.
do? Oh, wow.
So yeah. there
I
was-
just have one thing.
Yes.
You said they're 3 apples tall.
Yes, they're 3 apples high. That's the story of how
Does
they how tall
does
they are.
any tailor use apples to measure things?
That was just how they were
How tall are you?
described.
I'm 70 apples tall.
Well, this is just for scale. Like 3 apples is pretty high. It's really
I'm
not
gonna
that
start
high.
using apples
It's
for
a
measurements
cartoon.
all
Using
the
apples
time.
for
You're gonna see it.
Okay.
Mark's gonna see it.
All right, so moving on.
Wow.
Moving on. From the That's a Lot of Nuts department, the new Bad Boys sequel, which is the 4th one, for those of you keeping track, has taken the #1 spot in the domestic box office, pulling in $56.5 million in ticket sales in its first week of release, beating out the new Garfield animated movie, which came in at the #2 spot, making an additional $10 million in its 3rd week of release. For those of you keeping track, Dune Part 2 is still the highest grossing film of this year so far,
Wow.
with $282 million, followed by Godzilla x Kong with $196 million. Bad Boys comes in at number 17. Now I have to say this is petty of me, petty Mark, because
Okay.
I am a huge Chris Rock fan.
Okay.
And I've never seen any of the Bad Boys. I really wanted this movie to fail, and it didn't. So it's making
Chris Rock.
because Will Smith smacked the taste
Oh,
out
I was
of Chris
like,
Rock.
I'm sorry, but I don't think Chris Rock is in this.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
But like,
I was
Okay.
just remember it's Martin Lawrence, right?
it's Chris.
Yes.
It's Chris Rock.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Martin Lawrence and
Yes.
Will Smith. And
But Will Smith.
right, and the fact that he assaulted him on the
Oh.
national television in the Oscars.
So
and
now
then
you're
he
not a
went
fan
on-
of Will Smith.
Right, I lost my respect for him. Even though I never saw the movie, I like Will Smith and
I
other
hear
things.
you.
But
Yeah.
just being petty, I was like, I really hope this movie doesn't make it, because then it will show him that
Oh my
what
God.
he did was wrong,
Mhm.
as opposed to he smacked Chris Rock.
Uh-huh.
He won the Oscar afterwards.
Okay.
Nothing really happened to him, and now he's in the.
Well,
this is his big
I'm gonna
return
counter
to movies.
you.
This is his
'cause
big.
I like
right.
Martin Lawrence.
You like Martin Lawrence.
Just
you
so
won.
why make Martin Lawrence suffer because you don't like Will Smith? Honestly, I'm not the biggest, Will Smith. Whatever. Hey, if you want to cast me as something, I'll totally act with you, Will Smith. But no, Martin Lawrence.
You're a Martin Lawrence
love.
fan.
Yeah, I've even been compared to him, which
Really?
is like awesome.
Because you do stand up.
Just like my way of being, it's like a little wacky. It's
Because
just the
you're
way
definitely
and
an
it's
old
wild
black
stand
man.
up. Yeah, I've actually been compared to old black men.
All right.
I have.
All right.
Yes. So no, don't punish Martin
All
Lawrence.
right, so we have Martin Lawrence fan,
Yes.
non-Will Smith fan. Mario, are you a fan of either one? Have you seen any of the Bad Boys
I think I
movies?
saw the first one.
First
I
one.
don't remember the movie actually, but I like Will Smith until the slap,
Right.
Right.
and then there was come on.
Yeah.
It sours the thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I always saw him as a nice guy. He
Yeah.
always seemed to be a nice guy, and then I don't know. But at the same time, I don't know.
But I will
Chris
say,
Rock was kind of, beyond the limit there.
yeah, it is beyond the limit. But I will play devil's advocate, which I don't even really agree with. Maybe he's such a nice guy that maybe his wife or someone or Hollywood beat him down so much, and he was reacting to all the abuse he had, suffered, and then he lashed out. Because everyone has a breaking point, and there's a lot of rumors about his wife being not so nice and driving him a little crazy. So maybe if you have a wife who's addicted to porn and sleeping around on you and gives you no respect, maybe you're gonna lash out. And maybe it's better that you just slap someone rather than shooting up a school.
You know what? That's a
It could be worse.
That's a valid argument. Could be worse.
Speaking
Yeah.
from someone who's
Yeah.
just a little bit bothered by a year by
Right.
one idiot. And so if I was bothered by 10 years, maybe I would slap someone at the Oscars or
Fair enough.
Grammys or whatever event I don't care about,
All right.
Yeah.
So moving on.
Yeah.
From it's a 5-year show for real this time department. None other than Amazon has announced that while season 4 is just starting to air, the show, The Boys, will end after its 5th year. The showrunner, Eric Kripke, says, I am without hyperbole, literally the worst person in history at predicting how long their show should go. No one in their entire history of entertainment business has been more wrong than me, giving interview after interview on how I thought Supernatural should end after 5 years. So I would be crazy to speculate on how many seasons any show should go. I am not going to make the same mistake again, but yes, I do have an ending in mind. Now, as he mentioned, he was the creator of Supernatural, which he used to say vehemently that it was a 5-year show. And if you watch Supernatural, you can see it had a 5-year arc as to what was going to happen. So what was interesting to note is that the show lasted 10 additional years than the 5-year arc. And if you're a fan of the show, a lot of people kind of lost interest because they just basically kept on recirculating the same idea over and over and over again as the years went on. And maybe they should have ended it early. But as a consumer of TV shows, had that show had ended at the 5th season, probably would have been one of the best shows ever to be on television. Were you a Supernatural fan, Mario?
No.
No, not at all.
No, I mean, not a fan, but I didn't dislike it.
Okay.
It's just a show that I didn't watch.
All right, fair enough. What about you, Dan?
I don't even know what it is, really.
So it was a show that was on the WB and became the CW. It had two brothers that was chasing down supernatural things. It was kind of like X-Files, but a little more action-packed, I guess you would say. And then
what years was it popular?
Well, it was popular all the way up until I think the last year.
What year though? I mean, like 2010.
Oh, what years? Jesus, it was 15 years. It ended during the pandemic, so we're gonna say
That's
2000.
Well,
5 it
it's on
started.
CW and have cable, so maybe that's why.
No, CW is a regular channel, channel 11.
That's what I'm saying. I stopped watching cable in like
2005.
2004.
It says 2005.
Audience
There you go.
question.
But it's on now on I think TNT. I watch it like every night. They have reruns.
You watch Supernatural every night?
It's well not,
It's-
but
it was
it's
a good
on.
show.
You can't.
Wow.
You know, it's on like the sports thing at TNT
It's a
or
good show.
CBS.
I watch 21 Jump Street almost every night.
Yeah, I do too.
And that's on one channel on my TV.
Yes,
Every time I turn my TV
well, the
on,
same thing with
21
the
Jump Street.
Really?
Supernatural, Big Bang Theory. It's like they don't have anything else to show.
Well, if maybe
know.
someone's controlling my TV from 21 Jump Street department,
that-
because every time I turn my TV on, no matter
21
what
Jump
I
Street?
do, it's 21 Jump
The
Street.
original
anytime I
series
go.
or the movie?
The original.
The
Do
original.
you like the
Every time I
movie?
turn the
movie
TV on,
The
with what's
Johnny Depp?
what's his
Johnny
name? You know,
Depp.
the dancer.
So-
and everybody loves him.
Moving on, from the wheel keeps on turning department, none other than Pat Sajak has recorded his final Wheel of Fortune episode this past April. The show aired last Friday, June 7th, making it a world record holder for 41 years as the longest game show with the same host. The show will continue with Pat as a consultant for 3 more years and is going to have Ryan Seacrest as the new host, with Vanna White remaining as his co-host, extending her contract for at least 2 more years. Pat says, somewhere along the line we became more than a popular show. We became part of the popular culture. More importantly, we became part of people's lives, and that's been awfully gratifying.
Not my life.
Ryan says, no one can replace him. I just want to come in and continue to have fun with those contestants. I am truly humbled by stepping into the footsteps of legendary Pat Sajak. I can say, along with the rest of America, it has been a privilege and a pure joy to watch Pat and the game show host Vanna White on our television screen for an unprecedented 40 years, making us smile every night and feel right at home with them. He has made me smile and such an impact on this whole country. He's been a companion and a best friend to a lot of people. I have so much respect and admiration for what he's been able to do. He's a total pro, no one smoother and seamless than Pat. Vanna White says, when I heard that Pat was retiring, I thought maybe I should retire too, but I'm not ready. We'll see towards the end of those 2 years, how I feel. Thank God, after all these years, I still love my job. I feel happy for him. I can't imagine doing a show about him after 41 years. I sum it up as reading a good book. It has to come to an end. This has been the best book I ever read. Now, you said you're not a Wheel of Fortune fan. Have you ever watched it?
Yeah, I was a kid, sure.
As a kid.
I watched
And-
the Gremlins. I would just.
And that was it.
Watch
Alright.
What do I care? about
Wheel of
those
Fortune,
shows?
Mario? Was that big in Brazil?
No, we don't have that. I mean, we
No.
have game shows and similar games, but not exactly that one.
So I also watched it as a kid. Turn the channel every
Yeah,
occasionally,
yeah.
come on. But it was just like it was something that was just always there.
Right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like something that I had to see. It
Yeah.
was something like I don't want to watch it. It was just kind of there. Where I guess if you have a show for
Yeah.
41 years,
just
unlike
there.
The Price is Right,
Right.
which I was a fan of,
A
and
little
I
more.
used to watch it a little more religiously, especially when I had off from school.
Right,
It was
right.
11 o'clock at the same time, just get up and watch that show. See Bob Barker, that was like one of his things. And Bob retired, and Drew Carey made his own. And I'll still occasionally watch The Price is Right
Right.
over Wheel of Fortune, and Wheel of
Right.
Fortune's been 7:30 forever.
Well,
Because
as
it's
you said,
Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune's kind of like it's just there. You don't
Yeah.
pay attention, which no shade, but is this true? I mean, Ryan Seacrest, he's kind of just there. Does anyone really tune in?
Yeah,
I gotta
like-
see Ryan Seacrest
That's
tonight.
the
Oh
weird
my
thing,
god,
like, for-
he's great.
For putting Ryan out of all people,
Makes sense,
I
though.
think personally that they should have had an unknown.
An unknown.
Yeah, because
No.
that way it's not about the host, it's about the
Oh,
show.
okay.
And since the show had one host for 41 years, you bring in a new guy
Oh,
who
okay.
he'll just fill
Oh.
into the slot as opposed to it's Ryan Seacrest.
Right.
Because Ryan Seacrest took over for Dick Clark for the New Year's
Okay.
Eve.
Right.
And Ryan Seacrest was like a temporary host for Regis and Kelly for a while. Like I always see Ryan
I think he
Seacrest
fits right
just
in because those are
kind of
all
popping
things that I
off.
don't care about.
Kind
So
of popping
now
off.
He's like the official substitute.
Yes, I guess so.
yeah.
Question from the audience. Yes,
No,
sir.
he wasn't. Ryan Seacrest wasn't a temporary Kelly. He was actually on the
He
show
was there for a
for
while.
a couple of
right?
years, but I guess he
Right.
got bored and he moved on, and that's why. And you say you don't like Wheel of Fortune, but now they have all
Well, not
these.
that I don't like
They
it.
have all these celebrities on. That's
Yeah.
why I watch it now.
Right.
It's
Okay.
cool. I was actually watching, I think, a couple days ago. All these and same thing with Jeopardy and stuff.
One question for the audience. Do the celebrities make you tune in? You're like, oh, it's a celebrity, and you're more likely to tune in?
Yeah, that
Okay.
helps, and I do like Ryan Seacrest, and
You
he
do?
does have a big following.
I met my
He
first
does.
Ryan Seacrest fan,
Yeah, he
39
does.
years
I
old.
like him.
It
Look at
only-
that.
I actually like
81,
him better than Kelly's husband now. And if you watch Kelly,
Mark
and
Mark.
No, I don't watch
yeah,
any of this.
yeah, because I work from home, so
Okay.
I need to entertain myself.
So
See, I'm learning.
moving on from the
Thank
but
you.
will it ever come out department? None other than Rob Liefeld has announced that he will write and then publish his memoir titled Robservations, which
Okay.
also happens to be the name of his podcast through Ben Bella Books. Rob says, I have a lifelong affair with comic books. They have been my passion since I was 7 years old. I have been fortunate to break into the business as a teenager in the 80s, and I've had 5 decades of tremendous change, quite a bit of upheaval, and a fair amount of rebellion and betrayal, some of which I started. It's been quite a ride, and I'm eager to share this incredible ride with everyone. Watching my creations become roles portrayed by Ryan Reynolds, Josh Brolin, Zazie Beetz, Minka Kelly, and many more on the way. It's a crazy culmination of my comic book dreams as a kid. Over the course of my career, comic books have become a rich minefield that drives pop culture. The publisher says, Ben Bella is thrilled to partner with the legendary comic artist Rob Liefeld on the release of his memoir. Rob offers a glimpse into the hurdles and triumphs of his 38 career and the origin stories of many beloved characters. And what's next for the creator of Deadpool and Cable? We're excited that he'll help share his story with fans who love comic books and much more he does. The book is scheduled to come out next year. Now, what's interesting about Rob is that Rob has said many times that he's going to be making stuff and it never comes out or it's
Oh.
super delayed.
Oh.
For those of you who don't know, Rob was one of the co-founders of Image Comics which really changed the entire dynamic of the comic book field.
Wow.
So, for example, if you think of back in the old days, senior correspondent Charles Selman is not here, but we had 3 channels. ABC, CBS, NBC. That was it. And then Fox came along, and that was like the upstart network.
Right.
And then Fox became this huge, big thing, and everybody was like, oh, we can do that too. And now that's why we have so many different channels, so many streaming services, so much cable. It was basically because Fox came in and did something that no one thought could do, which was break the monopoly of the big 3 companies. So in the comic world, you had the 2 big companies, Marvel and DC, and the hottest artists at the time all left Marvel and DC to go make their own company. And then they're like, well, if they can do it, we can do it too. And a whole bunch of independent creators started coming out the woodwork. And Rob was like the youngest one. He was the quote unquote hip one. He actually had his own jeans commercial back in the day for Levi's jeans. And he was always making announcements back in the day that this thing was going to be a movie, this is going to this is going to be this book, this is going to be that book. And it never happened. A lot of stuff never happened. Let's say some stuff actually did come out. Some books he made one of, and the next one came like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years down the line. So it was just one of those things. So now he's gonna write a memoir. I'm like, is he really gonna write a memoir? Like, is this really gonna happen? I don't know.
I think
so. And Brazil, was Rob a big
really
name?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. It's like a love and hate relationship. I don't know if it's the same here in the US, but Rob's considered like not a good artist.
Oh.
You know, like technically speaking, he's not a good artist. He's still not a good artist.
He's extremely stylized.
Yes. I mean, he does have a style. It's very unique. You know it's him.
Okay.
And when they created Image, he became like the CEO of his own studio. So he helped a lot of new artists to break into comics. So that's really cool. And he was always a wild card, you know, like creating projects and this is gonna be a movie, this is gonna be a cartoon, and nothing ever happens.
Right.
But it is divisive. I mean, I have a couple of friends who really like him because of the uniqueness of his style, but most people really don't think he's just he's a great artist or a great entrepreneur or a great creator per se, you know.
Wow.
Myself, I just admire the how can I put this? We have a word in Portuguese, may I say that?
Yeah.
Pachorra. I love saying this, pachorra. It's like the nerve of this guy, you know?
Oh, the cojones, the balls.
Yeah, because he just does stuff. He's still there, you know?
Right.
I mean,
He survived.
He survived. And he's not a good artist, and he knows how to surf the wave, you know, if you know what I mean. So he mentioned in this quote, Mark read, I had my characters played by Ryan Reynolds. And yeah, I mean, one character who, like, the version of Deadpool we know now is not the Deadpool he created. It's such a different character now.
Yes.
You know, changed over the years. So he's like taking credit, I guess, for something he kind of created, but that's also marketing, you know?
Right.
So he's very smart in
Savvy marketing.
Yeah.
He's probably a marketing machine, like, you know, the Barnum and Bailey circus. My question, what I wonder is if he made all these announcements kind of knowing that these things might not happen, or like, I don't even care if it's going to happen, because for me, I made a rule at least a couple of years ago with my films and everything. If it's not certain, I usually don't even say something until it's done. Like, we just booked, you know, a school for money, a down payment was put down for a film. So that's secure, so I can talk about it and cast people. But until that payment was down, I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to tell you something's going to happen. I have many things in production until it's done, because your credibility goes out the window.
I think that, like, thinking about myself when I was a teenager and I was reading Rob's comics, I understand the hype, and I understand how hyped he is about his own stuff. So I don't think that he doesn't care if it happens or not. I just think that he wants it to happen, and he's talking about it because he's like full of energy. This is cool. And then when it comes to the time to actually write and draw and edit and produce, that's a whole other game, you know. So I also learned from a colleague of mine. We worked on this adaptation of a very famous Brazilian book, and he's not like a comic book writer. He's a writer. He wrote for movies, for theater, and books and stuff. So this was his one and only comic he did, and he's an editor too. So I learned so much from him because he's not from the gang. You know, he's not from comics, and he kind of teaches me something very similar to what you just said. Don't talk about stuff you're not sure it's gonna happen. You know, let's keep it to ourselves, because people will create expectation for that, and then you're promising things that are not gonna be delivered, or are gonna be late, or not gonna be as good as you think it was supposed to be. So I learned that from him, and I try to hold my hype.
Yeah,
you know.
and your credibility, I think, grows when you do that.
Yeah.
People eventually can see through the lines. I mean, you will get, maybe you could get, you know, more followers or likes on social media or whatever if you say something, and then, you know, a lot of people won't even follow up a year later. So you could say, oh, I'm going to be in a Marvel movie, and then all these people will call me, oh my God, Jen, let's be friends again. And what happens? But I could do that. But then a year later, what if it doesn't happen?
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, I guess that's what happened to him, because look at you, how you're talking about him. He's lost your respect.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
And we're
maybe,
still talking about him.
Yeah.
And he's still making
Exactly.
things.
That's
But
the thing.
he's popular but not respected. So what do you want to be in life? You want to be popular or be respected?
Yeah.
There are some who might disagree, and they still are in that Rob Liefeld camp. But a lot of
Oh yeah.
professionals and a lot of other people are like, they have that love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
Like, they're impressed by what he has done, what he still keeps on surviving, he still keeps on pushing through. But then there's the other half that he doesn't deliver.
Right.
So it's,
But he's delivered a lot.
he has
So
delivered a
I
lot.
would just say, you know,
Well, the
he's delivered a
percentage
lot.
of what he says, what actually comes out is not even 50-50. It's like 70 promises,
Whoa.
20% actual delivery.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
It's one of those weird things.
My God. Okay.
So moving on to the last bit of news, from the editor insert clip here department, none other than Mike Tyson has announced a new date for his fight against Jake Paul, which would now be November on the 15th. Mike says, unfortunately, due to my ulcer flare-up, I have been advised by my doctor to lighten my training for a few weeks to rest and recover. My body's in better overall shape than it has been since the 1990s, and I will be back in my full training schedule soon. Jake Paul, this may have brought you some time, but in the end, you will still be knocked out and outboxed for good. I appreciate everyone's patience and can't wait to deliver an unforgettable performance later this year. However, the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations, who will oversee the fight, says TDLR rules state that licensing does not automatically authorize an individual to participate in an event if their health or safety could be compromised. The department will stay informed about the health of the combatants and will obtain more information if needed to protect their health and safety. In addition to the pre-licensing medical screening, TDLR's ringside physicians also conduct pre-fight physicals before the event. For those of you who don't know, or don't care for that matter, the upcoming fight between Mike Tyson and YouTuber Jake Paul was upgraded from an exhibition match to an officially sanctioned fight, and is now scheduled for 8 2-minute rounds at heavyweight level. Knockouts will be allowed in the fight, and the fighters will wear 14-ounce gloves with no headgear. Mike Tyson's last non-exhibition fight was in 2005,
Right.
and Jake is currently 9 wins and 1 loss in his career. Mike Tyson will be 58, and Jake will be 27 years old. The fight was originally set for July 27th, and due to a medical situation, the fight was postponed.
Right.
And it's heavily rumored at the time of this recording, which is June the 12th, that Jake will fight someone else on the 27th, and then come back to fight Mike in November.
Okay.
Because this was going to be a big Netflix deal, that there was going to be a live streaming, just like when they had the Chris Rock live streaming event. They're trying to make more live streaming on Netflix, so people have to buy in and get the service. It was going to be a live fight on Netflix, the first one ever.
Yeah, smart.
So, but now the fight's not going to happen, so the
Call
investors
that.
in that.
I call
So now it's going to have, he's going to fight somebody else,
Yeah.
and then November he's going to fight Tyson probably.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it could have been the worst. This is the worst situation for Netflix, for them
Is
to
it?
have this idea that there's going to be this big fight, and now it's going to be Jake Paul finds some other guy who we don't even know who this guy
I think
is.
it could work out well.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you figure?
Because people like me, so I get Mike Tyson updates from one of my friends. Shout out Eric.
You actually met Mike Tyson.
I did. But my friend texts me updates. So as soon as he was sick on the plane, I get a text coming while I'm cooking in my kitchen. I get the update, and I was like, I bet you the flight's canceled. And my friend goes, no, it's not. I'm like, okay, whatever. But anyway, the point is, if you prolong the date, you can get more subscribers on Netflix, because people like me say, oh, in November, I'm not going to cancel my Netflix now because I got to hang on till November for the fight. So just keep on. It's kind of like a relationship, you know, there's like certain women or men, oh yeah, I'll do it. So you keep on holding on for days or weeks or years thinking, but it never happens. I think it will happen, but I think this would be brilliant publicity if I was a liar and owned Netflix. I would totally make this happen.
Do you think Tyson's gonna win?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. I don't know.
What about you, Mario? You're a Tyson fan? You're a boxing fan?
Not really. I like the Rocky movies.
Mhm.
and Creed. Creed is awesome.
Yes, Creed was pretty good.
But I don't really care about boxing, but I care less about celebrities fighting for publicity.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah, I care about Mike Tyson. I don't care about the Paul guy. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Question for the audience?
Well,
Yes.
basically, what you just said, that my brother and his friends were into boxing, but they had no interest in this because it's a show, it's an exhibition, it's like
Right.
wrestling. Wrestlers have done that before
Yes.
with boxers.
Yes.
I forget the Japanese wrestler.
But now it's going to be an actual sanctioned
Right.
fight, though. So
Not
it's
re-
an
it's
exhibition.
still an exhibition. It's really, from what I
Maybe.
understand, it's going to
But
be an
the wins and
exhibition.
losses
Yeah.
are going to count, so it counts as an actual fight. At least that was the last bit of news before the ulcer. So I don't know what's going to change, but at the time, it was going to be an actual sanctioned fight
Yeah.
with the records counting. It was going to be a real fight without the headgear. It was going to be a real fight.
But
So
they
that
were
was-
going to use like 14-ounce gloves.
14-ounce gloves.
You know what
for
that's
whatever.
like? It's like hitting somebody with a pillow, which is
Right.
kind of a joke.
So
It's
maybe
still-
that.
It's not like MMA where
Right.
these guys
Yeah.
really kill each other, which I like that because
Yeah.
they're really hurt. You know, it's a real fight, not a wrestler and a
Right.
boxer. It's wrestling.
Oh,
It's
well,
like an
yeah,
exhibition.
I
It's
think so, too.
entertainment.
The only thing he said was in better shape than when he was in the 90s
He's
or
better
his
in
20s.
shape. Right, back in the day, he's better in shape.
He's in
now.
better shape as a 50-year-old girl. I don't know, because I'm turning 40, and I feel like I was in better shape in my 20s, and I'm only 40. So how is a 58-year-old in better? I don't know, man.
I guess
don't
we'll
know.
have to wait and see.
I don't know 58 and 27. Like, I don't know.
Well, Stallone was ripped when he did Rocky 6, right? Rocky Balboa. I couldn't believe, and he's still looking good, I guess.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like keeping up. But I mean, the body changes. I'm also turning 40 this year,
Oh.
and
Happy
you know, happy birthday. Yeah. So it's kind of scary, you know. But at the same time, your body changes. I mean, he
Yeah.
can't have the same kind of training he had 20 years ago. He's a different whole person, you know. He's got a noser. Is it correct?
Yeah, yeah, I know, so, yeah.
Supposedly.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he feels good, but I don't know if his body is as good for boxing as it
No.
would be
You
30
have
years
wear and
ago.
tear
Yeah.
at 40 that you don't have in your 20s. I don't know.
And also
about
the other
that.
guy seems to be like in his prime, so
Right. At 27.
yeah.
I was a maniac at 25. 27, I fell off because I was such a maniac.
All right, fair enough. Well, we gotta take
Yeah,
our breaks.
it's-
We gotta take our break.
Oh,
so we're
sorry.
Gonna be right back with
Mark
more.
cutting off the
It came from the radio.
Mark cut off the audience.
Hey everybody, this is Todd McFarlane of the record-setting
just
Spawn
a
comic
time
series.
So this
And
is
if
cut
you're
out.
looking for any kind of cool conversation about creators, about entertainment, about
That's
all
cool.
that
I
good
didn't know
stuff,
you
you
were
go
talking
to It
about,
Came From the Radio. You're listening
you
to
know,
the right spot.
Yeah, we talk about.
I was like, I didn't know what
This is
what
Cliff
it was going to be
Coleman,
about.
otherwise ever known for
It's
Axel.
just too bad there's nobody here. No, yeah, I
right
told
from
you.
the Metal Gear series, and you're listening to It Came From the Radio.
This is like
Stick
the
around.
smallest ever. Sorry.
Hey, I'm Mike Kingston, the writer and creator of Headlocks.
And I am WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler. And guess what you're listening to? You're listening to It Came From the
But if you wanted
Radio.
to, hug and kiss your fans.
Hi, this is Amy Jo Johnson, writer-director from the
Hello.
film Space
I don't know.
Between
You're
Ears
doing
and
this.
Cat
So this is
from
gonna
radio.
for another 2 minutes and
But
then
you
we're
know,
gonna go
Meet Grimlock having fun on It Came From the Radio. Meet Greg Berger also.
Now, back to our show.
Yes, we're back already.
the quickest
And
break ever.
we're back to King Fun Radio.
Oh my
This is
God.
really Big Apple Con. This is your host, Mark Torres, speaking
Okay.
here in the East Meadow
Alright.
Public Library for our 81st live show.
Alright.
I am here with Man Jenny Feldy.
Hey.
I'm here with our special guest, Mario Cau.
Hey.
Guys.
And we're going to be talking with Mario right now. So, Mario, I actually saw you at the Tropicon, and you had a little sign, Brazilian comic first time in New York,
In
right?
the US, yeah.
Wow.
So,
Mhm.
why don't you tell us a little bit about that journey from becoming a Brazilian comic artist to just a regular comic artist, as I'm going to call you from now on?
Yeah. Okay, so I've been living in Long Island for a year and a half now.
Okay.
Yeah, going on 2 years, yeah. So I've been making comics since I was a kid. I love comics, it's my favorite medium. I just love telling stories. And I started working, drawing. I started drawing when I was 2 or 3 years old, never
Wow.
stopped.
Wow. Yeah,
And
same.
I mean, it brought me here, you know.
Wow.
And back in Brazil, I have a 20-year career. I started publishing and making my stuff professionally in 2004, yeah. So I'm here in the US because of my wife, actually. My wife, Monica, shout out, love you so much.
Aw.
Today is actually Brazilian Valentine's Day.
What?
So
Really?
yeah, love you, Monica.
Aw.
Yeah,
June 12th.
sorry.
June
June
12th.
12th.
is
June
the
12th,
Brazilian,
yeah.
I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because yours is in February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So depressing.
Yeah, it's
This is like
too cold.
fun. Yeah, this is like amor, the fire. Yeah.
But it's winter in Brazil. It's coming to the colder, weather. It's never as cold in Brazil as it is here.
Okay.
I was like, wow, amazed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So okay, back to comics. So we moved here because she is in a program which is a partnership between Stony Brook University
Okay.
and the Consulate of Brazil in New York.
Oh, that's cool.
And she's teaching Portuguese
Oh,
in Stony Brook.
very interesting.
It's like a program, like a 2 to 4 years program, and people go from Brazil to many other countries to teach Portuguese and Brazilian literature or Brazilian culture and stuff like that.
Super cool.
It's amazing. It's really cool. And the news that we were actually she was invited to come. It was right after the pandemic, and we had to make like this big life decision to stay in Brazil and keep doing what we were doing. We were doing fine, or take this big leap and like face the unknown.
Yeah.
You know. So here we are.
Wow.
And it's been an interesting journey, and she's happy at SBU, and I'm happy for her. But the change was weird for me because we both made our professional careers in Brazil during our time there. And like I said, I started my professional life in 2004. So when I had to decide, okay, I'm leaving everything behind. I have people who like my work. I have my friends, my colleagues.
Yeah.
I never like to talk about my accomplishments, my accolades, because I feel like I'm bragging.
Well, that's what
But-
you're here to do. So.
Yeah, but
This is a safe space for that.
okay, let's brag.
Yeah, this is your time to brag.
So I published dozens of books. I've
Great.
been to most of our comic book shows and Comic Cons. I've won awards. I've made great partnerships with writers and colorists, and
Understandable.
it was amazing. It was such a great experience. So I was kind of afraid of making this big change in our lives, because here I am nobody.
Right.
I wasn't a superstar in Brazil, of course, but I was pretty solid.
Yeah.
People knew me. I
Right.
was like, I
Wow.
mean, climbing up the stairs, and here I'm unknown.
Right. So far.
So far, yeah. And things are weird because, you know, it's different when you are growing
Mm-hmm.
and you know that you are starting low because that's where you are. You know,
Mhm.
your art, your writing, your editing, your presence, your personal marketing abilities, they are compatible to the place you are in your life.
Yes.
So okay, I'm 20 years old. I'm starting to make independent comics. I don't know how to draw very well. I'm doing my best.
Right.
And now I am almost 40,
Right.
and I have all this baggage, you know.
Great
And-
accomplishments.
Yeah. And what am I gonna do with all that
Yeah.
here, where
Yeah.
nobody knows me? That's different from being like an artist in Brazil who's very successful, like some of my friends and colleagues, and they're already publishing internationally.
Okay.
It's different. Like, oh, okay, like let's say Marcelo Quintanilha is a great Brazilian comic book author. He lives in Spain.
Okay.
He's been living there for many years, I guess. So if he decides to move, you know, like when he moved to Spain, or if he wants to move here, he's already a big deal.
Gotcha.
So I know he's just moving countries, but he already has the following. He already has the foundation
Yeah.
for everything. And I did have the foundation, like a smaller one, but in Brazil
Yeah.
only. So I saw this as an opportunity to meet new people and show my work to more, like a broader audience.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I trust my work. I have faith in my work. That's why I'm publishing in English now. Okay,
Great.
I've got some books
Yes.
here. I'm going to comic book shows. I'm meeting interesting people
Right.
all around,
Right.
you know. And it's been a great journey, but I still feel like I'm not here and I'm not there. You know, I'm kind of
Right.
in between,
Yeah.
trying to find my footing. And at the same time, Monica's program, it would end in August,
In August,
and then we
okay.
extended. So she actually signed the contract today. We're staying until 2026.
2026.
But then we're going back.
2 years. Okay.
And so I still have to understand how to better use my time here,
Mm-hmm.
because I know I'm going away, and how not to disappear from Brazil, because
Yes.
I'm going back.
Yeah.
So it's
I
don't
got
know.
ideas.
Yeah,
Social media, more
Mhm.
English with what you're here. What I would do, because I checked his YouTube and I speak English. I used to speak some Spanish. Anyway, I couldn't really find anything in English, so I kind of dropped off because I can't follow. So you could use these next 2 years to make a whole bunch of English speaking content, and people all over the world speak English.
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna open you up big time, because I saw the quality of work and I'm like, I could tell by thumbnails and the graphics that you're great. So that's obviously, and go on Facebook Live and go on different shows and do different events all in English. And then by the time you get back to Brazil, people speak English in Brazil
yeah,
too.
also, sure.
You'll have both, and now you'll be
Yeah.
bisexual comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is,
It's great.
the word I chose
Mhm.
is existing. You know, I existed in Brazil. I wasn't even questioning that. You know, like I know my place, I know my fan base, even if it's not like massive, but
Yeah.
my crew's there, my guys are there, my
Yes,
people, you know.
yes, yes.
And I wanted to make the same thing happen here, but at the same time, I'm not like desperate, you know. Like
Right.
I would love to have my stuff published here, because I do have some work that I love very much. But I've been publishing independently, like self-publishing in Brazil for 20 years too. So like self-publishing is not new for me.
Right,
It's like
no.
it's what I do. But I think I still have that idea that maybe if a company, like a publishing company, saw my work, enjoyed it, thought, well, we can work with this
Right.
and publish my stuff here. I think it would be good because the books are ready, you know, it's
Right.
done, it's published.
Right.
It's not like I'm not like pitching an
You're
idea.
not
I'm-
untested.
Yeah, it's just
person.
Yeah,
translated.
exactly. It's just translating.
I mean, it sounds like you have enough foundation to super take off with the English. You know, here's an idea. I ever thought of making reels, like on social media? You could take pictures and you can make different reels that get more viral. That's another idea in addition.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm not the best person with social media.
I can show you.
I
Very easy.
exist also. And I do have the YouTube channel. I can't make like a video a week like I wanted
Yeah,
to or like
yeah.
I used to because, well, life, you know. But yeah, I know there are things that I can do
A lot.
to show more my work or show myself more and exist more. But it's kind of weird because like when Monica got the news that it was gonna work out and she was like being hired and stuff, it was I guess February 2022.
Okay.
And the pandemic was like ending, quotes,
Sort
you know,
of, yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
But we had the shots and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we were doing better. So we were finally going to start living again. You know, like, and for me, going to comic book shows is very important because that's where I sell my stuff and meet new readers, of course. And then we went through like 2 or 3 months of complete chaos,
Yeah.
trying to figure out what are we gonna do with our lives,
Yeah.
because we have our place, we have our car, we were talking about having kids,
Oh my
and
God.
you know, and then we go to the States and we have nothing, and
Right.
it's weird.
Yeah.
And
Very
then
brave.
yeah, thanks for
It
that,
is.
because
It
sometimes
is.
you forget how brave it is to
Yeah.
just leave everything
did it.
behind.
I didn't do Brazil, but I've did different states twice.
Yeah.
Totally start.
Mhm.
And it took like 6 to 8 years to really know people, like really be
Mhm.
connected. Like I'd say
Yeah.
year 6, it's like I know everyone, but before year 5 or 6, it's like
And you have to keep working it, you know,
Yeah.
like it's not like 6 years waiting inside your room. It's 6 years working and
Yes.
doing stuff and going to meet people. That's
Yes.
really important. So I stayed in Brazil. Monica came here in August, and then I stayed until December,
okay.
and then, well, now we're here. So we didn't know if we were gonna stay more than 2 years. So it was always like this temporary feeling, you know, like I don't know if I want to invest a lot of energy, money, and time in the US,
Yeah.
career-wise,
Mm-hmm.
or if I just like take it as like a sabbatical, you know, like I'm just gonna work on my stuff, and
Right.
when I go back, I go back. I don't know, life happens.
Yes, it does. I don't know. I think this could work to your advantage. You're gonna learn so many things.
Mhm, yeah,
2
for sure.
years, it'll fly by in the grand scheme of things, and then you'll go home and
Yeah.
you'll have all this knowledge that you can apply. So, question:
Mhm.
well, what's your favorite piece of work and why?
Okay. I've done so many stories, and it's complicated, but I have a lot of favorites for different reasons. But if I have to put like one work, it's called Therapy.
Okay.
It's not available in English. I'm
Okay.
really sorry for that.
It
but
will be though.
It will be.
It will
Yeah.
be.
Give me some time. Yeah.
It will be.
So Therapy started as a webcomic
Okay.
in 2011.
Okay.
And then it's a story about this 20-something-year-old guy. Nobody has a name actually. You know, the main characters, they don't have a name. It's like the kid and the therapist.
Ah.
Yeah, the kid in the screen.
Huh.
So basically, we have this 20-something guy. He goes to college. He has a family. He has a girlfriend. He works, but he's sad. I mean, nothing elevates him.
Mm-hmm.
He feels disconnected. He feels sad, and the only thing that makes sense for him is blues. So he loves blues music. Yeah, like old blues music, like Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters. And that's his calling. But he's like studying economical sciences and working at an office, you know. So each chapter of this webcomic is a session, a therapy session. Right. And each of them is related to something in his life. So he's either talking about his family or his college or the new girl he met in college, or the homeless guy he meets in the street and talks, and the homeless guy ends up being like the ghost of Robert Johnson in a way. Wow. Yeah. And I really love this work, this comic, because it gave me so much freedom, like artistic freedom, because every time we needed like this emotional moment, like he's really angry, I wouldn't just draw an angry guy. I would draw an angry guy like with scribbles and loose lines, and the colors are all melting away from him. Right. I wanted to show him like visually, almost losing control. So he's like vibrating. Right. And then he has a nightmare, and then I painted the nightmare in black paper with white paint. Cool. Which like the opposite of how we usually draw. Negative. And then he has this whole metaphor of himself as a pawn in a chess game. So he's like in a giant chessboard with giant pieces made of stone. And then I use like Mike Mignola as a reference to design the pieces. So the king, the tower, etc. That sounds very cool. And it was so amazing because we went from, when I say we, I mean me. Rob Gordon is the writer, one of the writers, and Marina Cursis, the other writer. Rob is a writer, like a proper writer, never done comics before, and Marina is a psychologist. Okay, cool. So we were talking about mental health and the process of therapy with a therapist in the team. And I co-wrote and did all the artwork. We published 1 page a week, so it felt like therapy. Right. Because you have 1 page a week. Right. So you had time to process and digest everything. Cool. And it was like experimental in art. And it was really, really, really cool. We did 2 books, crowdfunded. Okay. Very successfully crowdfunded. We were nominated for awards, and we won Best Webcomic of the Year twice. Yeah. We were nominated all the years that we published. You know what happened? There was this guy who was studying like movie making, and he directed like a really short video, indie short video for his directing class, you know, based on the comic. So it was really amazing. So this is my favorite because it took a long time to finish. We were publishing for 8 years. Wow, that's deep. That's not shallow. Yeah, that's a lot. And we had such a great following. A lot of people really loved the work. And generally my work, my comics and therapy is part of that. Is very connected to emotion, to relationships, to a melancholic feeling. Like it's very dramatic, it's very sad actually. Some people actually make fun of me. Some friends, they make fun of me. They call me Emo Cau. Right. Because they say my comics are emo. That's funny. But that's it. I like sad stories. I like the beauty. I like the beauty of sadness. Like the beauty of not achieving what you want. I've been there. Yeah. Yeah, that scribble picture was like me last year. Mark knows. Yeah. So it makes you grow. You know, it makes you be stronger. Yes, so I like telling these kind of stories. I've had many people over the years come to me and tell how much my comics were important for them. I bet. Especially this one, therapy. There's a dear friend of mine who's also a comic book artist, Chris Eiko. Chris shout out. And she told me that she started doing therapy because of my comic, and that was really important for her.
Wow.
So I mean,
I bet there's a lot of stories like that that you don't know, because they say they used to say for every letter there's like 500 people that think the same thing, and who knows now. So for everyone that speaks up, there might be thousands of people or dozens.
And
that
I'm really happy for that. That my work, being the one that is about therapy, or the other ones that are about relationships and life itself, but I'm really grateful that my work can reach people. And I feel honored that some people found solace or found like a warm hug in my work. You know,
you're doing good deeds.
Yeah, connection.
You're
It's really
doing
important.
what some people consider God's work, according to many people.
Amen.
Depends on your belief. Yeah, amen. Hallelujah, really.
Hallelujah. Yeah, I mean, it's important, you know. I started doing this kind of stories because, backing up a little bit, like flashback, I wanted to be Rob Liefeld, you know. I wanted to be Jim Lee. I wanted to be Todd McFarlane. I wanted to be a superhero
You're about it.
artist, you know, because in Brazil we have comics, and what's always been very, very strong in Brazil and kind of like solid kids comics.
Okay.
You know, funny kids comics. Okay, I knew I didn't want to do that.
No.
And then I fell in love with superheroes. And in Brazil, we read a lot of superheroes, American superheroes, and Japanese manga too. So my dream was drawing Spider-Man or X-Men or Daredevil. Marvel, if one, I still would love to do that.
Okay.
But then, when I got I got into college, I studied art in college, and that opened like a new horizon for me. You know, like understanding art and the poetry. You know, the meaning. It was a whole new world, but I was still reading superheroes, and then I started finding stories that were not about superheroes; they were about people.
Right.
And then, like, I came to the conclusion. It was never about Spider-Man battling Dr. Octopus. It was about Peter Parker being a loser, you know, having trouble, having problems, and being a superhero too.
Right.
It was about the X-Men being outcasts. It was about Daredevil being overcome by guilt because he's Catholic and he's a lawyer, but he's also a demon and he's blind. All the problems, the real problems, were interesting to me. And then I started finding like Will Eisner, Craig Thompson, my Brazilian friends who were making like slices of life comics. And then when I saw that, I said, "Wow, you can make comics about real people going through real stuff." And that's what I'm going through now. So I started making comics about my life.
It's more relatable for people like me. I want to relate.
Well,
And why do what everyone else does? It's already there. Who
so
cares?
more about your life, because we're almost out of time.
Yes.
Oh no.
Where can people find
I talk too
more
much,
about you?
man.
No, you're
I'm
fine.
interested. I was very interested.
Where can people find out more about you? Websites, social media, all that
Okay,
stuff. Go.
let's do. I'm Mario Cau everywhere, so you can find me on Instagram, on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, same.
You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. My website is mariocau.com.br. Remember Brazil.br. There is an English section there. You can read my bio. You can read about my books and see my portfolio. I'm on ArtStation. I'm on Cara. I don't even know why, but I'm on Cara. You can find me. I'm easy to find.
And it's Cau, C-A-U. Mario Cau, C-A-U.
Right, not C-O-W-C-A-U.
Just in case for the listeners.
So you were nice enough to give out a original piece of artwork for our raffle.
We have this Spider-Man original art here.
Who's gonna win it? Who's
gonna
win it?
Oh, the mystery!
Yeah.
The mystery!
Whoa.
You
Okay,
got one.
two.
Yeah, you get one. So you pull out one. You gotta pick out one.
It's just one. Just one.
Yeah, pick one. There you go.
Okay. Should I say the number? Oh,
Yeah,
he's standing
say
up
the number.
already.
What's the number?
No, say it over. Say it over.
The number is 37 66 89.
3766.
Yes,
There
yes.
we go. Everybody's always a winner at the East Meadow Public Library.
There you go, my friend.
Thank
There
you
you
so
go.
much.
There
So
you
we're
go.
almost
Thank
out
you.
of time right now. So I just want to have you have any final thoughts before we sign off?
Guys, comics are amazing. It's the best language, the best medium, the best way of telling and reading stories. What I always say to people is, no matter what you like in terms of themes or kind of characters or narratives, you will find that in comics. Anything. If you like zombie ballerinas,
Right.
there's a comic about
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
You know, you can
yeah.
find it. Read more comics. Comics are amazing. There's a lot of cool stories there, and that's it, I guess.
And a picture says 1,000 words. A picture's
Yeah.
8 in novels.
Oh, read Brazilian comics.
So that about does it for this week on Came From the Radio in front of our live studio audience. Do we have a
Yeah.
All right.
Join
Yeah.
us next month on July the 10th for a Archie comic book writer and artist, Francis Bonet. He'll be here at www.eastmeadow.info, and we will see you next time.
Woohoo!
All right.
Yes, yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You've been listening to
What's your
It Came
name?
From the
Jeff
Radio
Coopersmith.
with Mark
Jen.
Torres.
Jen
The views
from
of the show's
South-
hosts and guests
I'm going by
do
my
not
full name.
necessarily reflect that
So
of the
you are-
management, owners, or staff of the station.
I don't need to
We
Thank
now
you, that's
return you
beautiful.
to your earthly scheduled
Would you like to
broadcast.
sing off?
I don't think you heard me talking about this book. So this one is actually an anthology.
Where's your crazy glass?